You're listening to Edging the Truth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your favorite conspiracy theory podcast. This is Edging the Truth, where we take you to the edge of the truth and no further. It's episode 9 of Edging the Truth. I am going to be leading the way this time around. Andy, you can call me Fudge, whatever, I don't really care. Just tune into the episode, like, and subscribe. That's all I really give a shit about. I'm joined, as always, by Mikey Mini Pies, Mr. One Lung, Red Rasmus, and our podcast cynic, Brian Shenanigan. We're here, and we're doing a very special episode this time around. It is a topic. Well, I don't know if you call it a topic. It's something that we've been talking about on the podcast. We've been promoting for a while. We are doing one of the voicemails. We set up a voicemail line for our listeners or whoever to call in, tell us your wacky stories, theories, anything you want to hear us yell at each other about. Do it. And Red, I know you have the number. I don't have the number off the top of my head, of course. We'll float that across the bottom of the screen, or it'll be on the screen somewhere. Anyway, this time around, our good friend Sam Cardona. She is the host of the Girl Who Talks Sports podcast. She's a producer for the NFL Network as well. Shout out. She told us an awesome story about a time where she believes that she saw a ghost and may have been possessed by a ghost for a couple seconds. She sent us a voicemail. It's about 2.5 minutes. We're going to play it for you right on here. You're going to get our live reactions to it. We're going to discuss it for a little bit. And then we may or may not have a special guest join us here at some point of the episode. This is a huge milestone episode.
First guest.
Of Edging the Truth, episode 9, first guest, first voicemail episode. If you like this episode and you want us to discuss something like this that you could bring to the table, hit up the phone line 917-979-6071. All right. So like I said, this is a story from Sam Cardona about an experience she had while she was in college where she believes she saw a ghost. Red Rasmus, do you want to do the honors and get it going?
Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Sam Cardona. I'm a friend of Andy's, and I'm super excited about this because I've been wanting to share with you guys a story of mine regarding whether it's a ghost, demon. I'm not really sure what it was, and I'll try to keep it as quick as possible. But basically, I was at my boyfriend's frat house when we were in college, and we ended up, and also this is a mansion in Potsdam, New York. It is ridiculously large and very haunted, extremely haunted. So I wanted to get away from the party that we were at. We walked upstairs to the second floor towards the front of the house, and people have said that there was like some weird things going on in the area of this house. There was a room that used to be a medical wing at some point for disabled children, which was like just weird in and of itself. A nurse had committed suicide at one point. So I always got the heebie-jeebies in this part of the house, but we ended up there just so that I could get a break. I wasn't drunk. I had maybe one beer, and that was it. So I was very coherent. And basically, my boyfriend was sitting down with his eyes closed next to me. I had this overwhelming sense of fear to look towards the front of the house. So I did that, and the largest black mass that looked like the only way I could ever describe it to people is a solid smoke, moved from the previous medical wing across the front window of the house and into the next room. I couldn't look away. I could not do anything, really. I felt paralyzed. And basically what ended up happening was the second that it finally left my sight of vision, I kind of came out of this weird paralyzed trance and immediately started crying. I woke my boyfriend up. He said, what's wrong? What's going on? And we were supposed to stay the night there instead of going back to his dorm room. I said, I'm not staying in this house. I made him get up. We walked back to his dorm in the rain, in the cold. It was like December. So it was absolutely just terrible, ridiculous. And to this day, still have no idea what it was. Brothers in the house have told me that that's not something uncommon, that other people have seen that before. So that is the abridged version of that story. I feel like so much more detail that I could get into, but this is really awesome, guys. Keep up the good work. I love this voicemail line, and I can't wait to listen to more episodes of your show.
Well,
all right.
There you have it.
So there's an expedited version we'll get.
Well, we will get a little longer version, but ghosts and demons are a topic that we have discussed on this show before. I think this definitely falls into more of like a haunting ghost type stuff. But it's I don't want to say the classic, ghost story, but it's something that a lot of people who say they have believed to experience ghosts, they're under a trance. They can't move. It's a feeling of fear. It's a dark shadow or a black mass. So let's get our initial thoughts on this. So this is at Clarkson University in New York, in Potsdam, New York, I believe, is the Omicron Pi Omicron house.
Potsdam.
It was, I believe it's been around since like 1865. Super old house. A lot of, obviously with those old houses, there's always the tales of the residual spirits or, spirits that may have passed on there that are still there, what have you. It's enough of me talking. Let's get some of your guys' thoughts on this story. I'm going to start with you, Red. What are your thoughts on our first voicemail here from Sam?
Well, it's funny, we got this voicemail, and you and I have gone back and forth a little bit today and getting ready for this, and I was trying to get as many details as possible, and so I did a little bit of digging, and when it comes to this house, and we'll show a picture of the house. I can do that here. Just one moment. Here's what the house looks like. It is a beautiful mansion. It was built in the 1860s, I believe, or at least that was one of the first recorded things of ownership. And it was owned by a super prominent family in the early 1900s that did this crazy, the whole Greek revival stuff was added on later. And
columns.
Yeah, and so that family was called the Sisson family. And this mansion is a hyphenated name. It is called the Watkins Sisson House. That is where this fraternity resides. The Sisson family was like a super wealthy family in Potsdam, New York, and they had a bunch of houses, and they're all named after them. And guess what? They're all haunted. The family has all kinds of crazy stories behind them, including that they intermarried. And as a result, that's why there were all these kids with birth defects. They kept them in these medical wards and were not well attended and potentially died. One of the daughters was going to get married in an arranged marriage and didn't want to and killed herself. And the other best part of this story is supposedly all the Sisson mansions were connected with underground tunnels. So, who knows what happened there in that particular building that may have caused there to be some residual ghost, psychic, whatever energy as Brian shakes his head. But there's definitely been a lot of messed up stuff with this family, and there has definitely been a history of ghost sightings related to the properties, plural, of this family. So again, as somebody when we did the ghost episode, I'm definitely an on the fencer about this sort of thing. And this story certainly feels of the right kind of ilk. It's coming from a fairly trusted source, someone who didn't ask to see this. It's definitely in line with the apparition kind of vibe that we feel, right? Not a photographic version of a person, but a shape of a person. Hey, maybe it was just a big bong rip, but I highly doubt that. She said she wasn't drunk. She said she had
a few drinks.
One beer.
One beer headed.
A
I mean,
beer.
these frat parties, fistful of roofies. I mean, it finds its way in.
Well, and that is a not a that is entirely possible, and she can probably give us more information about that. But all I can say is, based on the little bit of investigating behind the family and these buildings, this isn't a new story, and it's one that has been replicated. And if we're talking about science and doing experiments, it's can you replicate the results? And it would appear that the results in this story have been replicated multiple times. So I'm excited to talk to Sam, but that's where I'm at this point.
Mikey, what are you thinking, my guy?
Well,
Me and you were big on the ghosts when we did the ghost episode. We both know that we believe in that. What'd you think about Sam's story?
I think it par for the course on definitely a paranormal entity. I don't see this as a roofie situation, as Brian may have just said. I mean, just
Shit.
the ability that she was able to get up from the trance and wake someone up, tell them what she saw, and then furthermore walk home after she was supposedly roofied doesn't make any sense to me. So,
Yeah.
but take that out of that equation there. But I think that more than that, like her story falls in line with a lot of other stories I've heard of people that have seen paranormal activity. They saw some type of dark mass, some type of dark smoke move across a room. Didn't know what it was, kind of felt scared and maybe in a trance. And I don't know that she was like taken over by the ghost or the entity or anything like that, but definitely probably scared from seeing it and like, oh my god, what am I seeing, and just like stuck there while I moved across the room. But definitely I think has a notable story that could be completely legitimate, and I'm excited to hear more about the extra stuff that she has to tell about it, because I think that it really will hammer home like how conscious she was about the situation at hand and how realistic it felt, especially from me, who I am 99% sure has seen something that was not of this earth around my car and out in the middle of nowhere. Like, this seems the same thing. Like, that thing was in my mirror. So for me to hear someone else say, hey, I saw something that was not of this world, it scared the hell out of me. I was not sleeping in that place that night. I got the fuck out of there. Says, yeah, I kind of believe her on this one. And that's where I come from. So I don't think she was roofied, as Brian might have said there.
I'm just
Brian looks
throwing
like
out
he's
possible
thousand-
scenarios.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Roofies, what do you think here?
I mean, so she said that there was someone else with her in the story, right? That there was someone
boyfriend.
with
She
her.
was
That
her
was asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
They
So he
went-
was
they-
asleep.
She wanted to get away from the party, so they went upstairs to where they were supposed to be staying at. They sat down on a couch for a minute. He laid back and closed his eyes.
So he didn't see it. Only she saw it.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you can't see when you have your eyes shut.
You never know if maybe because she reacted to it, that it woke him up or something, and he may have seen like, oh, I did see something. Like
Well,
it's
she did
just,
wake him up. She said in her story she woke him up.
I mean, I just, like I said, I can't. If there's one thing I've learned in the recent time is people just gonna, you can't. She feels that she's generally had an experience. Like, it doesn't matter what I think, like that's like the whole thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, yeah, I don't believe in ghosts. Like, do I think that she saw something or whatever? Maybe, but it was also a strange place she hadn't been before, and trees and shadows and things like that can play a difference. But on the flip side, I will say that inbred homes full of disabled children sounds like there's a lot of fucking bad juju in there.
I agree.
There's a lot.
And being like that, I'm a person, because I was thinking about this the other day too. Like, I'm a person that believes in positive energy and doing all that kind of stuff, because negative energy is just as bad. And like, I sometimes believe that negative energy can manifest itself, and if that place is chock full of that shit, like that's that's something that I feel like negative energy can manifest. But like, do I think that was necessarily a ghost or something too? But maybe that's a whole other episode we have to do, is about, the
Right.
energies of the world and that kind of whatnot and that whole concept. But yeah, I mean, that place is full of fucking negative energy with frat boy angst stacked on top of it, which, there was a lot of let's just say, as a frat house, a lot of bad things happen in that house. I think we all know that. But
Oh shit.
and all these, like, so you tell me these frat boys were sitting on a house that had tunnels connected to other houses? Like, Jesus Christ.
That'd be sick. as fuck.
Apparently never found.
Yeah. But also, it leads me to think maybe Sam didn't need to walk home in the cold. She could have taken one of these tunnels out of there.
Right. That would have been.
She didn't know. But would you want to go into the ghost tunnels of negative house there?
The catacombs.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, especially like, yeah, I mean, the lady killed herself. All those, like, this just, I mean, it's stacks on stacks on stacks of like hundreds of years of inbred disabled children.
There's baggage, okay? Everybody's got baggage.
That's some deep bags. Deep. That's more baggage than hobbits got. Deep baggins. Deep. But
So I'm definitely on team. I believe this here. I'm in on this. I definitely
100%.
believe in ghosts. I can't say that I've had like a ghost experience myself, but I mean, I don't know. And we're gonna find out here in just a minute the holes we need to fill as far as the story goes. What has been omitted from the voicemail. But yeah, I mean, especially since she said, like, other some of the frat members had said, like, she wasn't the first person to say something like this. I mean, what Red brought up, like, and Brian, I don't know, the little inbred children, I think they're ghosts, or whatever they are. They're there.
There's a lot of negative and crazy. It's why insane asylums. I don't think insane asylums are necessarily full of ghosts. I think there's a lot of negative energy stored up in them fucking crazy walls.
Absolutely. Well, that's enough of us for just talking about it. Let's bring on the woman behind the voicemail, my good friend from the Girl Who Talks Sports podcast, the one and only Sam Cardona, joins Edging the Truth. Sam, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me. I've been I love listening to you guys talk. This is so much fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for calling in. You are our first ever voicemail call in. So, I mean, you are now a huge part of this podcast, but so you just heard us. Yeah. And our first guest, you just heard us babble on about this story that only you know. Well, not only you know, but you would know better than anybody else because it happened to you. So, I mean, give us your perspective of this event. Let us hear it. Tell us why we're idiots. Tell us why we're wrong, Brian, for doubting you.
Well, all right. So I'll start with the fact that I was not roofied. I promise you, I wasn't roofied.
All right. And she stands by that.
I'll drink to that.
The beer
I was
came
still
out
going to
of the
ask.
keg.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was still going to ask.
It's fair though. It's fair to bring up. But the beer came out of a keg that came from the store.
Okay.
Like, it was like not at all tampered with, and also
they did not roofie a whole keg.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think they would if they could, but frats.
That I cannot speak on behalf of this frat. I am not a part of it. I
can't talk about. I was a fraternity president right here.
For anything spoken.
Like a true G.
But yeah, so I'm actually like I love that there was like history like that you were able to find online about this, because I asked my boyfriend to send me stuff so that I had it in front of me. And basically you guys got it all right. It was built in the 1850s. The person who founded the town owned the house, probably because it was most likely the biggest house in Potsdam. And yes, there were the incest kids that traveled underneath the tunnels, but apparently
I've been told in the tunnels. Oh my god, we got it's like fucking Goonies over here. We got sloths in the tunnels.
Apparently the tunnels have been filled. That's what I've been told.
That's what I read.
I haven't seen
That's what they want you to think. Is the Illuminati owning these houses too? Jesus Christ, we may be deep in these episodes now.
I mean, for all I know, that they're still down there, and I don't even know. But when I found out about
those disabled kids are sealed in down there.
The people under the stairs. You guys see that movie? That's what
oh
we're
no,
about.
don't even. I can't even get into that.
The
But
disabled underground. We're going to hell. I'm going to hell for sure. I'm going there. But
But the one that I like to focus on is that there was a maid and a nurse and the suicide that happened. One of them I believe was pushed out the window. Um, Again, I'm not entirely sure. This was what was told to me. But apparently the nurse committed suicide, the girl committed suicide, and then I think the maid was pushed out of the window. So several deaths have happened within the front of this mansion, which I can also attest there are no trees in front of it. It's a completely open field in front of it, so there's no trees.
Nothing will grow.
Nothing will grow because it's freaking haunted as hell. And it basically, like, there's a road there, and the cars will pass by, and you can see the light from the headlights if it's nighttime, kind of like come into the front of the house. So basically, to go off of my fill in the cracks of my voicemail, so we ended up walking upstairs, and there was a couch next to the like master staircase. And that's when I was like, I just need to sit down. It's loud and yucky in frat basements. And I was like, I don't need this anymore. I will attest my boyfriend was a tad drunk, but I had one beer. Like that was the extent of my,
sustained.
Yeah. I didn't have no drugs, and then one beer. So this is the picture of
where was the couch?
So the couch was in this little hallway on the side. But it's not there in this picture because this picture was taken in 2008, apparently. Way before my boyfriend's time. So the couch was there, like kind of below that picture frame. And on either side here, there's doorways. So one room is on one side and one room is on the other side. And it passed from the staircase side across that front window to the next room. So that's where I saw it happen. So I was fairly close. Honestly, looking at this picture, I was like, I felt like I was farther away when it happened, but I was not. I was very close to it. And basically, Michael, like I said, he shut his eyes and he kind of leaned back a little bit. And I was like, whatever. I was looking at my phone, just kind of doing whatever. And then it was just like this overwhelming sense that was like, look at the window, like, look at it right now, because you're going to miss something. And I was like, I don't really want to, but I feel like I don't have a choice. So that's when I just turned my head. I saw this kind of like how I explained, like a solid smoke. It was like so strange. This dark matter that just kind of moved. And I didn't feel like it saw me. Like it didn't have like it wasn't a figure. It was very strange. And it just kind of blocked out the entire window. And you get like, again, there was like streetlights outside and the headlights of cars passing, so I could see that there was an outside. It was dark, but this just completely engulfed it. And then it went into the next room, and that's when I was kind of stuck for a second, and I like didn't know how to move. I'd almost like forgotten how to move. And it finally, when it officially went all the way away, I kind of like snapped out of it, immediately just started bawling, crying like uncontrollably. And then I shook Michael, my boyfriend, awake. And I was like, we gotta go. He's a little drunk and he's like, huh? What? We gotta go where? I don't know.
That sounds right.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not staying in this house. And he was like, we can't go home. Like we'd have to walk home and it's raining. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not staying in this house. Cause he lived, where he stayed at the time was another floor up, but like right above it. So I was like, no, I'm not sleeping above this thing. There's no way. So then we walked home in the rain. But it was just, and the thing is, immediately he started to try and debunk it. Because there was a dog in the house. There was a black dog in the house. And he was like, maybe it was Balto. And I was like, this thing was huge. It couldn't have been a dog. And he was just like, oh, maybe it was a bunch of guys or a guy and a girl. I don't know, running from room to room. Who knows? It's a frat house. And I was like, no, it was not a person. And he was like, it's fine. Don't worry. Like, he really did not want to walk home. He was really trying to convince me everything was fine. And I was like, if we don't leave, like, I will leave you here. Like, I don't care. I'm in a foreign place. I didn't go to the school, so I had no idea where anything was. This wasn't the first time I was in the house. I'd been in the house before, but it was going to be the first night that I stayed there. And then I was just like, no. So basically, that's the main thing. And like how I was feeling during it was that I was just, and then I got sweaty too. And then we walked home in the rain, and it was just like that was it. So, and every time I tell this story, I like get goosebumps all over my body. Like I kind of like relive it a little bit, and it kind of freaks me out. but I do like telling the story because it freaks a lot of people out. And when I told the frat brothers the next morning, they were like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, I don't like how normal you're taking this. I think that we should, I don't know, do something. Like, should we like sage the house or something? I don't know." But apparently there's a lot of other stuff that happens in different parts of the houses, but that's not what happened to me. So
Yeah, that's the most interesting part to me is that they found it to be not weird.
yeah.
And that there's that clearly means there's a history of weirdness, whatever that weirdness is, you know, whether we're naming it a ghost or it's something else. There's definitely some kind of history of weirdness, and for them to just sort of go, yeah, that's how things are.
Yeah. So strange.
That's the part that makes me believe it more.
Yeah,
and
me
ju-
too.
and want to know more too, to sort of go, well, man, how many stories are there associated with this place? Because a lot of times, and to be honest, in our podcast thus far, 90% of the time, these stories that or conspiracy theories that we're covering, they're one story. It's one story, and everything comes from that one story. And that's not what we're seeing here. We're seeing lots of stories related to one place, and that's different for us, and that's different for how we evaluate these things, I think. And again, we're not doing this in any kind of scientific way. It's how do you evaluate it from your gut? But when there's so much evidence to say, well, these things definitely happened. Whatever you decide you want to call them and how we classify it and all that, there's plenty of arguments that can be done that it is this, it isn't that, blah, blah, blah. But something has happened there many, many, many times. You know, I'm back to you know, where Brian was at. Like, there's some bad juju, bad energy. It is 100% manifesting somehow, whatever that is.
Yeah. And every time I end up in the front of the house, I sprint. Like I mean, I haven't been up there now since I've graduated from college, and my boyfriend has graduated, but they take like formal pictures on the stairs. I literally stand there and I do the smile and then I bolt. Like, I can't stand on these stairs. And the thing is too, my boyfriend was like, "You're fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine." And I was like, "No, like, you don't get it. You didn't see it." And then a few years later, he ended up living in the house in a room down the hallway a little ways, and they called it the summer room because it was completely open with windows. And all the brothers told him, they were like, "This is the best room in the house, but do not look out the windows at night." Like, that was the rule, was not to look out the windows. And he said that there was a few times where he glanced and there was a face outside, and it was on the second floor. So there was no balcony, there was nothing. He was like, he saw the face once and he was like, "I'm never looking out the window again after sunset."
Don't let the windows, because old man Jenkins is out there jerking off in the trees.
Did you see the picture, by the way? This is the picture that we've been showing of the building.
Yes.
There are no trees.
And yeah, there are definitely no trees. It's very open, and I can imagine.
So was this would be like, so the window you were looking out, do you know which one from here? Like, it would be the one in the front with the columns?
Yeah, on the left where all those pillars are, like, it was between those middle two.
Okay.
That front
makes
window
sense.
there.
Mm.
And the summer house is actually this side of the house. Like, so it's like this piece with the big window on the top and then two on the side. That one of those windows, I don't know which one it was, but one of those side windows.
So
Did you notice a temperature change when this occurred at all?
You know, I don't really remember. I feel like it's supposed to get cold.
Yeah.
Like, right when you see a ghost or something. But I just remember immediately after that I was like sweating and like profusely. So I feel I didn't.
Your heart rate was probably going like a mile a minute.
Yeah, and then and again, like, I was immediately, the emotions took over me and I was crying and sweating and all this stuff. So, but I don't think I remember feeling cold. But it's also Potsdam, New York, and as you can see in that picture, there's a bunch of snow on the ground. It is freezing there.
Yeah.
You were in
It's about
December.
30 minutes from Canada, so it's cold.
Yeah. Interesting.
All right, am I allowed to riddle her some questions?
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah, go nuts, Brian.
I've been so excited because I've listened to all your episodes, and I know Brian's the skeptic, so I've been so excited to hear what he has to say about this.
Have you seen other ghosts?
That was my question.
I think I have seen ghosts of animals before in my house because I had
Before
2
or
dogs.
after this event?
After this event, yes.
So
I saw-
but
I
you saw
thought I
that
saw my
animal ghost
dog.
after this event, not before. So before this event, no ghosts. After this event, ghosts.
Yeah, before this event, no, I don't think I've seen any ghosts.
No ghosts. And did you believe in ghosts before this happened to you?
Yes.
You did believe in ghosts.
Yes.
All right, I'm
I
Columboing
feel like
you
doing a
right now.
job interview.
He's going through his flow chart.
Did you hear about this thing at the frat house? That there were any things weird at the frat house before this happened to you?
That's a good question.
I don't think. I think I'd heard like some people had said some things, but that specific event happening of like
Nobody
this
gave an
mass,
example of said event.
like people just said like they
Just
heard a
weird
weird
stuff
thing in the
happens in the
basement.
house, not like on the second floor, top stairs. Watch out.
No, nothing like that. It was just like, oh, weird thing in the basement or something, a
You
weird
found out
sound.
all the weird details after the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
The nurse and the maid and all that
Correct.
business. That was not, you
I
were
didn't
not
know about
predisposed to all that information and then had that in mind when you were there. I know
Yeah.
what you're thinking, Brian. I know
When
what you're
you see the
thinking.
ghost of
Dude, I
the
know what
animals,
you're doing, you piece of shit.
when
What
you
was
see when you see the ghost of the animals, do you get that same feeling of fear?
No.
So
No,
just
I
with
had-
this one entity, it was scary, something bad.
Yeah, no. Every other like experience that I've felt about things like there's animals and things like that, it's always been very, very kind of nice actually. So this was the only time I've ever felt like it was like malicious and like if I got in its way, I would die.
Interesting.
All
Rufus,
right.
you got anything else?
Well, I mean, you want me because I think I feel like I've come to a conclusion on it, where I think that I've come to a settled thing of it that I feel like is like fits with my value system. If you would like me to say this or now, or you want me to wrap? Okay, all right. So basically, I'm gonna go with that this was the disabled inbred children frat house. That should probably, this building has so much negative energy in it. It should be razed to the ground, sprinkled with holy water, and burned because this house is full of negative juju. So I don't, because like I said, because you had seen ghosts after the fact and did not have the same effect on you. I am gonna basically say that this was probably not a ghost. I'm gonna say it was something. I feel like I said, I thought the negative energy can manifest itself. And man, it can really affect people around him. So I feel like this was more of a negative energy manifestation situation and not necessarily a ghost-related thing. Definitely not demon, because I think we feel like we kind of mostly ruled that out because I think in my I don't believe in that shit hierarchy. Demons is still below ghosts. Okay, so ghosts will still be above demons in that thing. So I did definitely rule out demons. But like I said, there was so much, just generations of abuse and suicide and God knows what things, because God, you know how medicine was back in the day. Shock treatments on these kids. You don't even know what they did in there. Don't even know. I don't even want to think about it. Like I said, the horrors that go in there, it's like, yeah, that place just needs to be torn down. And I don't know how anybody went in there and was like, we should put boys in here. It's healthy. We should get a frat.
It was probably so cheap. That's probably why.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's a historic building, obviously, because they haven't changed it. So it
A
definitely can't be that cheap.
A historic building that you want to tear down. So
I think it should be torn down. A lot of
It's
historic buildings
historically-
should be torn down.
I know
It's
why
historically protected now.
I know why Brian wants to tear it down, so he can get to those little fucked up inbred kids in the
The
tunnel.
inbred tunnels?
That's why he wants to
I
tear
just
it
want to
down.
help them, okay? I just want to help
Sure,
those
what do you wanna
inbred
do? Give them
children. I want us
too?
to find and give the answers to the. I don't even know. I don't know where I was going with that. I trailed off.
I
But
don't know.
Jesus. But that's my thing is like, yeah, do I believe you saw something? Very much so. I do believe, like I'm on like I said, a lot of these things, but like, especially from the fierce sweat, to that whole stuff, I just don't feel like a lot of that is necessarily consistent with even other ghost stories we've heard. I feel like that's why this is more of a, just like I said, I'm a positive negative energy guy. I feel like if you get enough negative energy in one place, it can manifest. And but I don't think it was a ghost. I just think that house is so full of negative energy that's walking around the rooms.
No,
And
I disagree with Brian. I don't think that it's just a negative energy situation.
Because ghosts feed off that energy. That's what.
Well, not only that, but
that's how they manifest themselves.
This entity was moving with a purpose from one place to another place. Like it moved legitimately from one area to another. So it had some kind of conscious being to be able to go in a direct area. So I don't think that's just an energy going from like around the house. That's something that's moving, and it has a mind and a thought process to move.
Yeah.
And she felt it. Like
I don't know if there's energy like that in other parts of the house though. Like that room is the med wing. I don't know if I mentioned that. That is the med wing.
Say that on the voicemail.
Yeah. So like that's like
it's riddled with it.
Thing, but I feel like if you go to the back of the house, like I don't feel that. Like I feel like different in different rooms, if that makes sense. But and again, in like the room that my boyfriend lived in, like during the day, it was really beautiful because all the sun came in and it was really nice. But the second it got dark, it was like, and you were like, oh God, like it's nighttime now. It's like so terrifying. But yeah, I definitely feel different. The basement's another story. That's don't even want to get.
We saw the photos. Basement. I mean,
the photos of the basement did not look. I mean, after being cleaned up and stuff.
That's where they have their parties.
Yeah.
And like that's why part of the reason why I wanted to go upstairs. I was like, why am I standing in this really scary basement? I don't like it.
Yeah, it looks like it's from a horror movie. Like it's very ramshackle.
Horror basement.
Yeah, no, basement's no good. There were times that Michael would call me and he'd be like, it's my job to clean up the basement today, and I cannot be down here alone. So he would just have me on the phone just in case.
It puts the lotion in the basement.
There was one time he thought there was somebody in the basement because
there was this elderly children in the walls or children in the wall.
He thought like someone had like ran by and he thought it was a person, but it was a naked frat boy who was
I mean, that's
doing stuff in the basement.
And, I mean, I'm still not ruling out that is what it was, but it was such a horrifying situation that your brain blocked it out because you're like, oh, I don't want to see this, and it just turned into a blur. Because I mean, I've seen some horrifying people in my life, and I have blocked them out. So I mean, it's it can be done. So
it did move slow. It was slow. It did not like swipe.
Well, I mean, I don't like to judge how people are if they're slow or not. I like to let them, just.
I appreciate that, Brian.
Brian's a slow guy himself, so. I think we and boys and girl. I'm sorry. I think we've gotten to a pretty close to a conclusion here, as far as this story goes. I'm in. I believe that was a ghost. Some shit's going on there. Inbred.
Inbred disabled children,
disabled ghost children, or mixed
I didn't even go with inbred ghost children. That's even worse.
I mean, that's what they are.
That's the whole premise for a movie right there. Let's write the script. Cut this part out so we can do a trailer.
It is a movie. It's called People Under the Stairs.
No, but I think we can do better. Were there inbred and disabled? I don't think so. We
should donate some sage to the house.
Donate some sage.
The house needs to be smudged.
Yes.
I'm in on it. Red, your final verdict?
Yeah, I'm in. I'm not sure. I don't know what to name it, whether it's a ghost or spirit or energy or one of those things. But yeah, I'm in. I'm in for whatever it was. It was something, and I'm a believer in that.
Mikey,
I'm in, and I'm naming it. I think it was an evil spirit.
Ooh, I love.
He's even putting a good versus evil on it, huh?
Yeah. Well, she saw other things, and they were not. They didn't give her the same feeling. So, just saying.
You're putting a lot of judgment on this spirit. You don't know his life choices, okay?
I don't know what his life choices were, but
that's on you to project that on him. He's just a happy guy that just happens to give a whole lot of negative energy. You don't know his vibe, all right?
Well,
now
I'm defending
the damn ghost. You see what's happening here, guys? The whole world's going crazy. What are we doing?
Whatever, dude. Brian, we know where you stand on it.
Yeah,
Sam.
I mean, do I think she saw something? Genuinely, yes. But do I think you can classify it as a ghost? That's still not my that's not my bag, as they say. So like I said, I believe that,
no cap.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I watched her tell the story. That's somebody you can kind of tell when somebody's bullshitting you. I've seen it It happens every day in Las Vegas. I see it all the time. It's America. America's a big bullshit machine. But I mean, genuinely, you know, your face, you see the emotion, you see the callbacks to it, you know, like just because you're reliving it even as you're telling it, you genuinely saw something. You know, I can't refute that. So it's you know, what we classify that thing as TBD. But, you know, do I think you genuinely saw something? Yeah. But like, do I want to classify it as a ghost? Not at all. So, you know, like I said, there is still a lot of stuff in this world that we don't know about, that we just put tags on that we are familiar with, and I think this may be one of those situations. And you know, so it's but you definitely saw some shit, so I can defute that. But it's like I said, what you want to call it, you know the vibe.
I understand what she means, but when she like retells the story though, and she gets those goosebumps about, like, because whenever I think about the time that I was in my car and I'd see that ghost in my mirror or whatever it was in my mirror, like I get that same rush, like because I back in that moment and I see that thing and it's like, oh my goodness. So,
but you know, there's genuine trauma there. I could see it. There's remnants.
Yeah.
About, you know, so
100%.
I'm sorry for your frat house trauma. A lot of people have been traumatized in that frat house, though. I guarantee it. So, you know, at least,
and not in the same way.
At least yours did not require an extreme amount of therapy and/or a court order of some sort. But nevertheless, go Ohio.
Oh my God! All right, Sam. I want to give you one last opportunity to defend yourself, to sell us, to sell the listeners on your story.
Well, I mean, first things first, Brian's on my side. I think that's number one on the list here.
I mean, that's a pretty good. That's a win, right? That's a win.
You can't come out of this show any better.
But you know, I was ready to come in a lot hotter. You know, I was like, oh, all right.
I was prepared. I was.
I know. Don't think I did. There's more notes here. There's more. This could have gone a lot of different ways. I got sheets here. We was ready for discussions, organized. But
yeah.
No, I know. I think I'm with it. I put down. I give up what you're putting down. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I know what I felt and what I saw that day, and whenever I think about it, like Mikey was saying, like I get all, goosebumps, and I just don't like. It feels weird to think about it, but I think the more I think about it, the better it is, because I don't want it to haunt my dreams or anything like that. But after learning about everything that's happened in that house and how old that house is, and just the area in general, it all just kind of made sense. So for the people that may or may not, believe my story, that's totally fine. But I know exactly what I saw, and I will die on this hill that whatever it was, ghost, poltergeist, evil spirit, bad energy,
bad energy.
Real. And
I think that bad energy still latched on you a little bit. That's why it's still with you. It's hard to keep. You said it's still there. It's still there. Normal ghost sightings don't necessarily stick with you like that. You don't feel that over the animal ghosts, do you?
Did you say she got cursed, or what are you
Yeah, she didn't. I
didn't want to go Danhausen on this thing, but it gets a curse. But I didn't want to. But
I hope it didn't come down with me. But it's been a few years. This happened. I was a sophomore in college, so I was. What was it?
Got that? You got a lot of positive in your life, Sam. A lot of positives.
This wasn't the first time you had been to that house.
I think it was the second or third time I'd been there.
Sam,
it was the first time I was going to stay, and then I didn't stay.
Okay.
I wouldn't have stayed either.
A while.
Yeah.
I would have gotten the fuck out too.
I wouldn't have just stayed in the frat house just on principle. I'd be like, let's get an Airbnb or something.
No, they're good guys. They're good guys, genuinely.
Yeah, they're good guys that walk in while you're trying to have infinite moment times, shaving cream on your balls or whatnot.
It's the spirit, man. It's the spirit.
The spirit of the frat house. Yeah, watch out for that spirit. The dangerous spirit.
It's very possible that people felt a certain way after, people stayed in those rooms. Those were people's rooms that they stayed in.
That went in there, that ghost went in there where somebody lived, sleep, and jerked off, and they watched them do it. I'm just saying, that's evil.
I mean, that's their own trauma to go through. That's not mine.
Can you imagine?
Mhm.
I didn't
Lots
have
of
to stay
frat
in
boys
that room.
lived in there.
Can-
Lots
can
of
you
frat boys
imagine
lived in there.
The frat dude jerking off in a haunted room. Everybody imagine it real quick. That's what
Cross that off.
Yeah,
the
thanks,
bucket list.
Fudge.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
also a good premise for a movie. I'm just gonna say the frat. Maybe
Everything's
not
a
maybe not the
movie.
right kind of movie, but I think we get some good clicks on the Pornhub.
You do look like a porn producer. You do look like
Yeah. So the premise is he's
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
room, okay, and the spirit comes in. It's a whole
You're
thing.
telling me that
So
Brian's never been on the
Billy,
other
you're playing
end
the
of
spirit in
casting
this one.
couch.
Get that dong out.
The smoke dong.
Jesus Christ.
Yes,
Sam,
we're gonna put this
I'm
out
not
so
gonna-
your dong looks smoky. You're an apparition. We're gonna make it happen.
I'm not going to subject you to any more of this. It's just Phil. Before you
I like to
go,
apologize.
Yeah, apologize
We'd
for
like to
that.
apologize to both Sam and the Opio fraternity for any
Yeah.
disparaging remarks.
Brian's views do not
Do not express, yes.
express the views of the entire podcast. You filthy boy. Sam, please plug your show and tell anybody where they can find any of your content.
So if you guys are looking for a sports podcast, which has nothing to do with this, you can find me at the Girl Who Talks Sports podcast on all podcasting platforms and on YouTube. And you can find me on Twitter at TGWTS Podcast, and I'm on Instagram and TikTok. That's the other one. At the Girl Who Talks Sports. So I'm currently on a little bit of a break, a post Super Bowl break, but I will be back for the NFL offseason if you guys are interested. So.
Yeah, good. Help Fudge
Nice.
get better at betting. Help his dog get better at picking teams. Both those things happen.
All right, we do not talk about Brew in this household.
You leave his name out of your.
You leave my dog's name out your mouth. All right, I apologize. I'll take it back. I'll bring it back for the dog. For Brew,
When we get back on the sports,
We're gonna be up so many units this next season. I'm gonna shove it in your fucking face.
Mhm.
I want you to get a. I want you to get a boat that says "Lucky Dog" on the back. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
I
From you,
know.
okay.
You can write one of your little jokes about it, and I'll sell
Now
it.
you wrote the joke. Now you have to get the
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah. All right. Fuck. All right. We gotta make it true. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. This was
Thanks,
a
Sam.
historic episode of Edging the Truth. Our first guest, our first voicemail, another unanimous yes from the podcast that you saw some shit.
You saw some
Okay.
shit. Okay.
Shit,
I
and
did.
we cannot thank you enough.
And you saw a ghost thing too, on top of being in the frat house where you saw some shit.
Shut up. Okay, dude. He hates frats. God damn it, he hates frats. We get it, dude. He got denied from fucking Theta Beta. Fucking.
Oh no, I was in a fraternity, so I know.
Yeah, me too. I was the president of my fraternity. I definitely know.
I did not join a fraternity.
Yeah. Well, Sam, thank you again.
Thank you.
First guest, first voicemail. We thank you for your support of the show, for leaving the voicemail, for coming on. Yeah, I mean, you've always been a great friend. Looking forward to more of your sports content coming out soon.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me, and keep up the great work. I love listening to I just listened to the Lizard People podcast.
Mhm.
It was I also have to say that shit's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Let's go.
This isn't Spider-Man. We don't live in the Marvel universe.
Yes.
Dude.
All right, that's another podcast, okay? Because I feel like that's
today. That's
Anyway,
all
but yeah,
we're-
thank you guys so much for having me and letting me share my experience.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. If you have another conspiracy theory that you're super strong on, we might have you on for another episode and come battle it out.
Hell yeah.
That could be fun. But thank you so much, Sam. Always a pleasure.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So before we get out of here, we kind of have a little announcement to make, boys.
Yeah, we do.
We are some sponsor ass motherfuckers. So the Edging the Truth podcast is going to be one of the sponsors for Zicky Dice's Outlandish Paradise. Red, you know way
Two.
more about this than me.
Two.
Number two.
Number two.
because the first one was so good, we had to go in twice.
This one's Trouble in Paradise.
WW Deuce. Red, tell everybody about it.
Yeah, we're really excited. Zicky Dice is somebody that at least a few of us, if not all of us, have encountered on our time spent on Twitch. And the opportunity presented itself to be a sponsor for his next big wrestling event on April 1st in Dallas, Texas, called Zicky Dice's Outlandish Paradise 2, Trouble in Paradise. And by the way, yours truly submitted that name. So I'm very excited to have contributed that. But yes, we are going to be sponsoring the event. We will be on the posters. We'll be on the T-shirts. There'll be ad reads and stuff for us. We are helping to make this event happen. So we're very excited to be able to share that. We'll be coming up with a fun tie-in of some kind in our episode that will come out the week of that event. Our next episode will be the week of St. Patrick's Day. Brian will be hosting as our resident Irishman.
Irish boy.
And then that will be episode 10, and then episode 11 will actually come out the week of April 1st, and so potentially, maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll have a voicemail from Zicky. Maybe we'll have him as a guest. Maybe we'll be doing some kind of promo video. But definitely look for some kind of tie-in to the event that week. But yeah, we're just super excited as a team to be able to be a part of this and help make it happen for Zicky and promote the hell out of it. So,
yeah. Well, this has been episode 9 of Edging the Truth. Make sure you follow us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can go to, we're on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, most of the major podcast platforms. My son is banging on my door. Knock it off! I'm just kidding. I don't actually I don't. Wink. Anyway, subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Just youtube.com/edgingthetruth. You can go to www.edgingthetruth.com. It has all of our episodes. It's got links to listen on your favorite podcast players. It's got links to the YouTubes. It's got bios if you want to learn a little bit more about each of the 4 of us. And then you can also follow us on social media. We are at Edging the Truth pretty much everywhere. So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like I said, YouTube as well. Please throw a like on the video if you liked what we said, if you liked what Sam's story. We'd also love to hear from you. Call the voicemail line, 917-979-6071. And you know what I'm going to do? The next listener to call in and leave a voicemail is going to get a free HyperX mouse.
No way.
We're giving away shit here.
Come on. It's a giveaway. It's mine that I'm currently using right now. Look, it lights up.
As seen on the podcast. Real action.
As seen on the podcast. You can have one. I actually just mailed one to Brian today. So you could have the same mouse
as half the podcast.
As half the podcast. Leave us a voicemail. Tell us your crazy story. And
if you're HyperX, please sponsor us. HyperX.
We would love to take HyperX.
We love your products.
But this has been an awesome episode. I think this has been one of the more fun episodes we've been able to do so far. We hit a milestone, first guest, first voicemail. We hit another milestone in a couple weeks with episode 10. It's been an amazing ride so far. We're all so excited to do this and be able to do this together and see where this ride takes us. We're super excited for Zicky Dice's Outlandish Paradise 2. Trouble in Paradise, submitted by the one and only David Marriott Jr. Let's go. Edging the Truth. We're out of here. It's episode 9. I'm Andy. That's Red. That's One Lung. That's Brian, or as we like to call him, Mr. Roofies. Happy Monday, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Call the voicemail line. Tell us if you got any conspiracy theories. Look out for us on social media. Thanks again to Sam Cardona for joining us, and look for more awesome guests, more awesome content from Edging the Truth going forward. And just reminding you, do not roofie anybody. Brian.
Love that.
Yes. Yes.
Visit edgingthetruth.com for more information and links to all our social media and podcast directories.